Hi, Judy with today's thought. I wonder how many of you, well, probably most of you, have heard the old Chinese saying, may you not be cursed to live in interesting times. Well, I guess we can all agree that we have been cursed. We are living in interesting times, meaning many things happening, the days, at least for now, the days of just living your life comfortably without any worries about your domestic situation or what's happening in the world, those days are over for the foreseeable future. We are living in interesting times. And the problem for me is that I only have time to speak for a few minutes and talk maybe about one or two subjects. And there is so much to discuss. Maybe someday, I guess that would be a dream, that this channel would be so successful that I could actually do a 1-hour podcast and then be able to talk about numbers of things and maybe even do interviews. That would really be fantastic. So anyways, a lot happening around the world, but especially in the Middle East. And that's what I want to talk about today, because big doings there. You must all know about the fall of Assad, but there are other things in Syria, but there are other things happening too. And I just want to go over them, show you a couple of very interesting short videos and about who is responsible for these major changes that are really they're all positive, which is really fantastic. And some of them are really surprising, especially this first one. Now, this first one is Iran. Now, Iran, I mean, talk about your big developments. They had a dream of becoming the dominant power in the Middle East and being a regional power. Those days seem to be over permanently with the fall of Assad and the decimation of Hezbollah, their proxy in Lebanon, and the demise of Hamas for all practical purposes. I don't want to get off on a track. The point is that now you're starting to see changes within Iran itself, and that's what this video is. These are university students in Iran, and you're going to see it's one of these answer and repeat, like you see in this country, where you have one person, a demonstration, and one person shouts something, and then the crowd responds. What do we want? We want yada, 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 yada. When do we want it? We want it now. In other words, one guy will say, what do we want? And the crowd shouts back whatever they want. When do we want it? And then the crowd shouts back, we want it now. Well, this is Iran, and one person shouts, I guess who's trying to lead this chant is saying, death to Israel, death to Israel. And then the crowd is supposed to respond, death to Israel. But they're responding, death to Palestine, which is very, that's the opposite of what they're expecting. And for Iranian students in Iran to be chanting this, you see this? That gives me some hope that, and I'm going to show you another video in a moment that will buttress that, but some hope that there will be some changes in Iran, that this regime may be on its last legs. Now, just before I show you the video, I just have to, because they're shouting in Farsi, the language, the native language of Iran, and the chanting, the person trying to lead the chant, he's chanting something in Farsi, and then he says, Israeli. So that's their word for Israel, Israeli. And more important, the crowd that shouts back. In Arabic, and I guess Farsi too, the word for Palestine is Philistine. Philistine. So you're going to hear the crowd shouting back Philistine, but they mean Palestine. That's video number one. Now video number two, and this one is a follow-up video to a video that I shared earlier that Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, made to the Iranian people. Well, he just made another one, and here it is.
People of Iran, as we see history unfold before our very eyes, I can only imagine what you're feeling right now. Your oppressors spent over $30 billion supporting Assad in Syria. Today, after only 11 days of fighting, his regime collapsed into the dust. Your oppressors spent billions supporting Hamas in Gaza. Today, their regime lies in ruins. Your oppressors spent over $20 billion supporting Hezbollah in Lebanon. In a matter of weeks, most of Hezbollah's leaders, its rockets, and thousands of its terrorists went up in smoke. The money your oppressors stole from you literally went up in smoke. You must be furious imagining the new roads, schools, hospitals that could have been built with the tens of billions of dollars your dictators wasted backing terrorists who lose over and over and over again. Do you know why Iran's oppressors keep losing? It's not only because they're incompetent and cruel. They are. It's because they seek to conquer other nations, to impose fundamentalist tyranny on the Middle East, on the entire world. The only thing Israel seeks is to defend our state. But in so doing, we're defending civilization against barbarism. The historic events we witness today are a chain reaction to the pounding of Hamas, the decimation of Hezbollah, the targeting of Nasrallah, the blows we delivered to the Iran regime's axis of terror. And all this came, as President Trump pointed out this week, because of Israel and its fighting success. I want to make clear, Israel wants peace. We want peace with all those who truly want peace with us. And I have no doubt that you, the people of Iran, know this. I know that just as we want peace with you, you want peace with us. But you suffer under the rule of a regime that subjugates you and threatens us. You know what this regime is truly terrified of? It's terrified of you, the people of Iran. And one day, I know that, one day this will change. One day Iran will be free. Women, life, freedom, zan, zandagi, azadi. That is the future of Iran. That is the future of peace. And I have no doubt that we will realize that future together a lot sooner than people think. I know, and I believe, we will transform the Middle East into a beacon of prosperity, progress, and peace. Thank you.
And finally, I want to share a headline. This is from the Jerusalem Post. Shiites should make peace with Israel, Lebanese party leader says. Now, I linked to the article if you want to read it, but the headline really says it all. So all these changes in the Middle East, and what are they, who is responsible for this, and how, and what did they do? Well, a big person responsible is Benjamin Netanyahu, and it's less it's as much what he did, but, I just showed what he did to Hezbollah, Hamas, Iran, attacking Iran, destroyed their air defenses. But just as important is what he didn't do. And what didn't he do? He didn't listen to Joe Biden and the Biden administration. That's basically it, because everything he did that brought about these positive changes in the Middle East were things that the Biden administration tried to stop him from doing, to the point of withholding shipments of weapons that Israel needed to do what? To do what we should be doing, but we don't have to, because Israel does it for us. They're putting their soldiers at risk, not ours, and we should be thanking them, and I'm sure Trump will be doing it when he takes office in probably 35 days now, 36 days. But, don't go into the south of Gaza, but he did. Don't attack Hezbollah, but he did. And so on and so forth, and it led to these positive results. Now, one other event that I forgot to mention, I'll mention it right now, is Hamas is now moving forward. It seems they're finally getting off the dime on making a hostage deal, and they've got their demand had been that no hostages would be released, no more would be released, unless Israel ended the war and abandoned and completely left Gaza. Well, they've given up on that. They've given up on that because they are now saying the Israelis can stay. They can stay in the Philadelphia corridor, which is it's a road that runs along if you don't know, the border between Egypt and Israel, and that was how Hamas was bringing in weapons and materiel. And this was another thing that Netanyahu did that Biden pressured him not to do. And that's what is important, getting back to I'll get to Trump in a minute, but getting back to Netanyahu, what other Israeli, well, we know from the past, what other Israeli could have stood up to this pressure? What other Israeli prime minister? And we know that no other one could, because Israel made a deal with Lebanon to either share or to share access to an oil field, an undersea oil field off the coast of Israel and Lebanon that Israel had the claim to. And the prime minister at that time, I think it was Lapid, was not Netanyahu, went along with it. And actually, even though it was not legal under Israeli law, the Knesset, their legislature, had not approved this. He went ahead and signed it. So that tells me that Lapid would have been, if he were still prime minister, would have succumbed to the pressure from Joe Biden, would not have done all the things that Netanyahu did, and we would not be in the situation where we are now, where Assad no longer rules Syria, and weapons cannot go through Syria from Iran to Lebanon, and it would have been completely different. So that's Netanyahu. But you have to remember, regarding these hostages, is that Trump said that the hostages, he said all the hostages, so we'll have to see what happens, but he said the hostages he did. He said all the hostages have to be released before he takes office, or there will be, quote, hell to pay. Now, what does that mean? I don't know what it means. Hamas doesn't know what it means, and apparently they do not want to find out. So we'll see how it shakes out. But also, ever since Trump won, it became obvious that this withholding of weapons, for instance, would stop, and that Israel would get all the weapons it needs to go after Hezbollah and Hamas. And that's why you have this party leader. He's a Druze, actually, leader of the Druze. I don't remember the name of their political party, but they're an ethnic group within Lebanon and Israel too. Oh, and here's another interesting development I put in, because I just remembered this. There are 6 Druze villages on the other. As I said, there are Druze in Syria and Israel, and they are separated by the border between Israel and Syria. So you have some Druze live in Israel. They're Israeli citizens. There are Druze on the other side who have resisted wanting to become part of Israel and become Israeli citizens. That has changed now. There are 6 villages, 6 Druze villages. I don't know why I could do this, or I could do, 6. Okay, 6 Druze villages along the Syrian-Israeli border. On the Syrian side, their their village councils met. They all voted to ask Israel to annex their villages into Israel. They want to be part of Israel. They want to be governed by Israel. They do not want to be part of whatever Syria is going to turn out to be. We'll have to see what happens. There's the leader, I forget his name, of I mean, there were several factions working together, but the lead guy, he was well, as far as we know, he still is a jihadist, and he wants to spread Islam all over the place. But on the other hand, he's been making some at least not making hostile remarks about Israel and threatening to destroy Israel, which he knows is impossible. So there might be a détente there. We'll have to see how that shakes out. But you see, all this is happening. It is all positive, and it is because of Netanyahu and Trump. And you have to remember about Trump, he hasn't even taken office yet. And I'm going to be talking probably about more things that are happening. It would be off the subject for today, but it's as if Trump is already president and things are happening for the better. I hope you can, as I do. I sense a whole different mood in the country right now. I mean, there are some people bitter, the crazy people on the Bulwark website, and you're never Trumpers, and of course you're far left, and Trump is going to be a dictator, and he's Hitler, and yada, yada, yada. But overall, there is a calmness and an optimism, I will even go so far to say optimism now in this country since Trump won. And part of it is because not just how he's won, but this is what I'll talk about later, I hope, is the way Trump is acting now, a completely different. Trump said it himself today in a press conference he gave that I'm going to maybe play an excerpt from in the future, maybe tomorrow. But that he said maybe it's maybe my personality has changed. And if you listen to him these days, I think his personality has changed. That a lot of people who were hostile to him now want to meet him. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook from Apple was there. Complete change of mood. And I hope that the curse of living in interesting times will be over by the end of the Trump administration. So let's, cross our fingers and hope. And my hope for right now is that you'll subscribe to this channel. But whether you do or not, your comments are welcome in the comment section below the channel. Share this video with anyone you think would benefit from it. But most of all, come back and see me again. I would love to see all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.